recording because I'm probably going to say something before we start that would be pertinent to some of you. So this is the Arctic Clinic. It's started sometime, I don't know, April, May last year, where those of the students that were having difficulty in grasping even the most basic of concepts got to arrange a one-on-one. The one-on-ones were done for anyone who wanted it, basically. And then the only condition was that everyone got to listen in so that everyone benefited. Hello, hello. Essentially, it allowed for anyone that had any queries to get their questions answered. So this week we will have the clinic from 3 minutes time all the way for 3 hours. It is being recorded. It will be uploaded to WAP when it's done. It's going to take a long time to upload because it's a 3-hour recording and it's being recorded in high definition. Well, 4K. Every week we'll put up a post where you can book a slot. All time will be in Eastern time. I work as a doctor in obstetrics and gynecology, which means I work more than 100 hours a week. And so I will arrange the sessions according to my schedule. I will try to do 3-hour long slots straight away rather than breaking them up throughout the week, unless it's absolutely necessary. Mr. Heisenberg, can you confirm that the mic is now slightly clearer than before? Because I've checked and there isn't a problem on my end. Yeah, so it's internet on your side, sir. We've boosted the server to be able to stream in full source and at 384 kilobits per second. So we should be good on that end. Let me check who the first session belongs to. It is Mr. Adrian Freeburn. Right. I think he believed it was a UTC session, and therefore we don't actually have anybody slot in for the first half an hour. So I will take general questions from anyone that's in the audience, and hopefully the Mr. Abdul Kadir shows up at 1:30. Oh, he's here. Dedication. That is dedication indeed. Well done, Mr. Adrian.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. We shall begin
great.
now. How are you? How can we help?
Yes. I was is regarding the two videos that that was posted. Um, one of the information that was jumping out at me, since this is new information for me, regarding like he was regarding like futures data for the contracts. Like how would you get the contracts um and applying to the data so you could get the full information, if that makes sense?
You have asked the best question that anybody who's starting this mentorship should ask. We are going to be using specifically futures contracts. I personally only use futures contracts. They will sometimes use CFDs. I'm not sure what Platy does, but Jacob also does indices. These are the contracts that we refer to when we discuss anything QT related. I put it in the chat. So you have on TradingView, if you put in BTC1, that will give you the 1 month forward contract. Despite the name of continuous contract, it's not a continuous contract. Those of us who come from crypto will understand that you can just hold on to your position across months. Not the case with futures. You have to remember that it is the 1 month forward. Where is it? Here we go. And that there's going to be a contract switch that happens taking the contract. So from this point on the chart, you are getting data from the January contract, no longer December. The trading may still be happening on the December contract. And if you wanted to do that, you'd have to go to BTCZ 2024. This is the December contract, which you can see ended here. It expired. And on the one exclamation mark, which is the 1 month forward contract, it flipped from December to January here. And on the 29th of January, it will flip from January to February. This is for Bitcoin, which does a monthly contract switch. If you're talking about the euro, for example, it does it every 3 months. So you can see here 6E1. Up till here, the data that you were being shown was the September 2024 contract. This point forward, it started giving you data from December 2024 contract. And here on the, what was this now, 13th of December, we moved into the March contract. The other thing to note when you're dealing with the futures contracts is this button here, the back adjustment. So what this does, if you pay close attention to this area and somewhere here, with back adjust off, you are dealing with uncorrected data, which is used in some of the analysis. Personally, I use back adjustment on, but really it boils down to you, your back testing, and what works for your model. You can see the gap that existed here on the non-back adjusted data. So this was the gap that exists between contracts. The back adjustment correction will remove that gap by adjusting the price of all the previous data to factor in where the current price is based on, I don't know, interest rates and all sorts of other nonsense. So that's one setting to keep in mind. The other setting to keep in mind is the set button. The set button will change. It doesn't actually set anything. On the daily time frame, it changes which price was used for open and closed based on the contracts that were settled at the end of the day. It will affect analysis on the daily time frame and higher as we go deeper into the material. Personally, I leave it off. Does
Okay.
that sort of
So
answer your question regarding futures, contracts, and data?
yes, part of it. So where would you go to pay for the added data
Okay,
that
so on TradingView, under account and billing, I think I'm not going to stream that part, but let me see, where is it? So if you go to TradingView itself and you go to account and billing, no, it's not there. Let me find it. I can't remember. Oh, yes, it is there. So account and billing, and then you will see real-time market data. You want the data for CME, CBOT, COMEX, NYMEX, the CME group. That's the one you want the data for.
Okay. Okay.
So with what happens when you don't have that? On the daily time frame, nothing much. On all time frames under the daily, your data is delayed by 10 minutes. And so if you're trading on the 5 minute or the 1 minute or the 1 hour or the 4 hour, it's going to affect your execution because you're seeing price from 10 minutes ago. Hope that.
Gotcha. So so far you show me BTC and what was the other one? So
Euro.
how do you find yeah, okay. How would you find the contracts? I don't know, Nasdaq or what was the other ones?
So I put the screenshot in the chat. You can use those or you can go to the actual contract. So if you want, say, the March contract for NASDAQ, you type in NQ and then you will get the March, June, September, December contract right there. All the way through to, you've got, what's this, December 2029. But obviously at this point in time, there's not much going on. This is the monthly, this is the weekly, and like it's hardly being traded, right? But whoever's trading this now thinks that in December of 2029, we're talking about 4 years' time, that it's going to be trading at 23,000.
Right. So, and you could do the same thing for, I guess, like US 30, I guess, US 30 and what's
US
the other
30
one?
is the Dow Jones. So if we're going to communicate with each other, we should be using the term that everybody will understand. And the Dow Jones,
okay.
the ticker is YM.
Okay.
So let me go through quickly all the tickers that we have here. We have Bitcoin, BTC1, Ethereum, ETH1. And again, these are the 1 month forward contracts, right? You can use the contracts for each individual contract. It also works. And then you talk about the back adjustment. This is 6E. It's the euro. That's the pound. Don't worry about the Swiss franc. I'm the only idiot that uses it. This is the NASDAQ NQ. This is the S&P 500 ES1. This is the Dow Jones YM1. This is gold GC1, silver SI1. Sorry, yes, SI1. Copper HG1. This is oil CL1. This is gasoline futures RB1, and this is Harbor Oil, which is HO1. So those are the commodities, indices, and forex on futures and crypto on futures. Those are the, if you're talking about QT in general, if you hear me talk, I'm referring to one of these. I don't care about CFDs. They will sometimes use Owanda when he talks about the euro and the pound. When we talk about the DXY, is something quite important. I believe we use the one from capital.com for the DXY. So if Day is talking about the DXY, it's likely to be from capital.com. The reason for that, capital.com has better low time frame data as opposed to TBC, which has absolutely crap low time frame data. You might not see it now, but as you become a little bit more experienced, if you're new and you become more experienced, you will notice the discrepancy. That looks good. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. And he was mentioning something about the UTC-5. Since I'm in Eastern time, we don't set our trading view time or
Right. So you set your trading view time to New York. So when you click on the bottom right, you have all the time zones pop up. Set it to -5 and just leave it there. It will change accordingly in daylight savings time, and you shouldn't have to do anything more. Anytime, if it's Platty, myself, Jacob, or Day, if we talk about time, we're talking about Eastern time.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. And okay. So I know how to set it up. Okay. And so the next thing I guess it would be like when you're looking for a setup, since I'm hearing that there's no setup since it's January, things reading price is difficult supposedly right now. What would the ideal setup look like? I guess I'm hearing like if you go down to a lower time frame, you'll be able to find a reasonable setup. If that's accurate or not. Um, so I guess like the ideal setup I'm understanding is you use a higher time frame. Say if you want to make a trade on say the 5 minute would be your entry, and the and I guess the higher time frame that you start from is I guess a 1 hour. Is that correct?
So we're delving into material from the liquidity and imbalances lecture.
Correct.
Right. So when you're looking for a setup, as far as the PD arrays and execution goes, on the 5 minute, you're looking for a 1 hour PD array. On the 15-minute chart, you're going to be looking for a 4 hour PD array. On the 1 hour chart, you want a daily PD array. On the 4 hour chart, you will want a weekly PD array. And on the daily chart, you want a monthly PD array. On the weekly chart, you want something from the whole quarter, so 3 months. So when you're looking for imbalances on the 1 hour, your execution is going to go down to the 5 minute. When you're looking for an imbalance on the daily, your execution is going to be on the 1 hour. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
So that's something really important because as we progress throughout the year, the timeframes are all going to get. You need to be able to move between the timeframes smoothly because you're going to have people in the chat talking about the 5 minute and you'll be like, no, I'm bearish. Yes, because you're bearish on the 1 hour, that's fine. But on the 5 minute, there's a long setup. They've taken that because they're okay doing that. It's up to them. But you need to be able to float between the time frames really efficiently.
Okay. So he was breaking down like buy side liquidity and sell side liquidity, finding an imbalance, or I should say fair value gap on the higher time frame first, and then looking for price to key off of or bounce off, or create a reaction off of that fair value gap. Um, and I wanted to see like a couple more example what that might look like is there's fair value gap he went over. There was inversion fair value gap. What was the other one?
Balanced
Balance.
price range.
Right. So those are those three different type of setups you could use to
Those aren't
key
setups.
off of.
Those are imbalances.
Okay.
We haven't talked about models just yet, so we don't know what a true setup looks like.
Okay.
Those are imbalances. Just take them as they are, imbalances. Just learn to identify the PD arrays. So in this particular case, right here, we've got a daily fair value gap. Yes,
Yes.
that's got a whole bunch of liquidity here that then gets taken. And so if you went down to the 1 hour time frame, once we learn about models, there might have been something in here that you could have made use of. Right? But we'll get there. It's week 1. There's a long way to go.
Gotcha. Okay.
There's things to look
Gotcha.
for that, even though everyone outside thinks they know what they're talking about, it's probably the case that they don't. But
Right.
there's multiple things that will make our life easier than it was before.
Right. Yeah. Trying to find some consistency. But
Consistency will come. It's going
right.
to take a while.
but yeah. But I would say with the information that I've stumbled upon about quarterly theory, like I've been able to like for the first time out of my my trading at home or on demo. That's my first time I've been able to like stay in a positive, like always.
If
Would
you're
I
at
say
break
break even?
even, even if you're at break
Right.
even from being at a loss, you've made progress without realizing it. If
Yeah,
anyone
that's
here
right.
is able to just say, because you think you've got an edge and you sign up for a prop firm account because you're amazing and you're able to maintain the account past 90 days, that's actually quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, that's I realized I noticed it different because I was like initially I started in 2020 when the whole pandemic nonsense started. So I started then. I've been losing constantly. I couldn't find a somewhat consistent way of staying in the positive. So, but ever since I stumbled onto quarterly theory and went through that information, I've been able to stay break even more consistently. Now I'm just looking for that, just being able to pull the trigger and know what I'm doing and find
Mm-hmm.
consistency. That makes sense.
All I can say is, and Platty and Jacob might echo what I'm about to say, but backtesting isn't what most people think it is. Backtesting will build trust of the concept in your mind. And that's why we ask you to backtest. And when we ask you to backtest certain things, it's because it is only by backtesting that you will understand certain things that require you to observe, things that we can't actually put into words, things we can't teach you outright. You will get that when you backtest. You're going to hear the word backtest a hell of a lot this year. Do we have any other questions? It's Mr. TJ with the Zoo-like logo. It's not UTC plus 5, I believe it's UTC minus 5. Mr. Heisenberg, I know you think you. How would I put this nicely? You think that's what sharing a link does, but believe me, that is not what happens when you share a link. You're not sharing a watch list. When you share the link the way you've suggested I share it, it ends up doing something completely different from what you think it does. This is the link to the watch list. But sharing the link the way the way you suggested I do is dangerous, to say the least. There's a huge bug. Right. Do we have any more questions, Mr. Adrian?
No, not at this time.
All right. I'll put you back in the crowd. We have about 8 minutes before the next person, who is Mr. Abdul Kader, I believe. Mr. Abdul Kader, is that right? Yes, Mr. Abdul Kader. We will start with him in 7 minutes. Up till then, if anyone has any questions, you can put it in the chat or you can raise your hand to speak and we will slot you in. Where the fuck is Claddy? Mr. Duckface, if you could check your telegram, please, Mr. Lawson. Man says, one upload, which means they're going to have to dig through 3 hours of the polar bear ranting. Oh, my lord. Miss Cassie, how can we help? At this point in time, well, today actually, I've started with the second group of my own course. And so up till end of April, I've got a sort of embargo on myself discussing much price action, but that's more Platy's and Jacob's realm anyway. I myself am the original coder for Qt indicators. The one that you see on my screen at this point in time is the free version, for which a link that you can use to claim it will be available in the announcement as soon as the duck sends me his indicator, which is also available. And you can use that, which will mark the previous quarters, high and low, and the true opens. Yes. And it also does a concept which we don't really talk about yet. Miss Cassie, are you here? Did you have a question? Don't think the microphone's working. If you wanted to type, that would be fine. For those who are in this live, well, I don't know if can we consider this clinic? Let's call it that. Eh? So I do the link to the indicator is currently in the chat. You can go ahead and claim it if you want. As we progress throughout the year, different sets of indicators will be made available to you that perform different functions depending on how you've decided to implement quarterly theory into your trading. I don't believe in handing out indicators on day one because that means you're not going to learn the concept and you're going to be dependent on a bit of software to tell you, oh, this one's a PSP. Oh, this one's an SMT. I don't want that. I want you to understand what you're dealing with so that you know when the software's got it wrong. Software isn't perfect. Human error goes many a bug into the code. Everything was done by one person. And so you need to understand the concept before you use a bit of software to tell you what you're looking at. So I don't believe we've talked about SMTs and SSMTs just yet in the content. Let me confirm with. Actually, let me just look through. I remember clearly the day that SSMTs was introduced, and the day that I stopped watching lectures because once I had that, it didn't need much else. But yes, you need to be patient. There's a hell of a lot that goes on in public. A lot of people that feel they understand what they're talking about. I promise you, they don't. All right, 30 seconds is Mr. Abdul Kader here. I'm quite particular about my time. OG, sir, 2025 is not OG.
I am here. It's me, Mohammed Kadir.
Good
Morning,
day.
sir.
How can we help?
Oh yeah, I have the session with you.
Yes, right now.
Yes, yes. How are you, sir?
Alive. How can we help?
Sorry. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Do you know that it's me, Mohammed Kade?
Yeah, that's fine. How can we help? What
Oh
can I
yeah.
do for you? What
So
are your questions?
okay. Do the questions have to be regarding lesson 1 and 2, or can it be anything regarding
Anything
3D?
that we have covered so far in the lessons.
Okay. So um, I want to know regarding which session, which subscription for TradingView I need to buy
The
so I can like
minimal,
backtest
at
or
least essential. So something
essential.
that gives you
Okay.
access to
Uh,
the 1 minute chart, I believe. Let me just check. I've been on premium for quite a
no
while
problem.
because I need to publish software, account and billing, subscription, change plan. So essential will give you 2 charts per tab, 5 indicators per chart, 20 alerts, bar replay, multiple watch lists. Essential is enough. You don't need plus, you
Okay,
don't
I've got
need
that.
premium. Essential is enough. What
Yeah.
you do require is the market data, which if you go to account and billing settings, there's real-time
Yeah.
market data that you require. So you need to get the market data with all the CME group. That is
I see.
necessary.
Yes. I see this thing saying that it's the CBOT e-mini include. Is this the one I will require minimum?
It should be the one that says CME, CBOT, COMEX, NUMEX, CME group, E-mini included. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Yes, I understand that. Yes.
Let me just paste it on the screen so that everyone can see it.
Yes.
That's the one you require. You need this market data. This
That's all
market
right.
data is essential.
Yeah, I've got that. Yes. Also, Day said he mentioned turtle soup in his first video. I mean, sorry, second video about liquidity and imbalances.
Hmm.
Can you please elaborate about turtle soup?
What do you want me to elaborate about this concept?
Yes, if possible, please.
Yeah, what about it do you want to know?
So like basically, if we're looking to trade like a weekly or monthly FEG, so let's talk about a monthly FEG, for example.
Okay, so let's
So we're
first
gonna
identify the time frame on which we're going to study a monthly FEG. So if there's a monthly FEG, let's say this is not a good one. I'm going to cherry pick shit to start with because otherwise you end up. Oh, there's one right there. Okay.
yeah.
So if you're dealing with this FEG, what time frame should we drop down to?
So this is a monthly, isn't it? So we're gonna drop down to daily time frame.
Okay. And what are we looking
Okay.
for?
We are looking for an old daily low. But you know this daily low, daily old low. Will it have to be above the monthly FPG or can it be inside the monthly FPG as well?
Um, we tend to use lows that respect the FVG. So, for example, at this point in
Okay.
time, it looks like the monthly FVG is not going to be respected, but that's with back adjust on. If you turn off the back adjust, which is what some people use, you find that it's being respected. You're looking for a low that doesn't go too far below the FVG. This is that low being souped. I probably just said something I shouldn't have anyway. This price action right here was called in one of the videos that I did in March of 2024 in my course, because that FVG was just too good to not be revisited. This is the soup of this low that is within the FVG.
Yeah.
On the daily.
Okay. I have a question. Why did you reduce the size of the FVG? Like when we
Sorry?
marked the monthly FVG, it was quite bigger, wasn't it? But just now you reduced the size of it.
One more time, I didn't get that.
Sorry?
I didn't understand what you asked.
I'm saying that you see the monthly FVG that we marked earlier, it was bigger than this one. I think you reduced the size right now, isn't it? Or you did not reduce the size of the FVG?
When you click on back
Or
adjust,
is it the same? Yeah, why did you just take the bottom of why did you take the bottom wick of this candle? I don't understand this. Like, so
okay.
why don't we just
So let me explain this again. There's a button
yes, please.
in the settings that says adjust for contract changes. So when you click that, you will see how can I enable the back adjustment for continuous futures. They're not actually continuous contracts. They're not perpetual contracts. For those of us who come from crypto, the perpetual on BTC allows you to open a position on January 1st and hold it all the way through to the end of whenever, right? But that's not
Yes.
the case with the CME futures contracts. Every or periodically, the futures contracts roll over. What does that mean? That means they will move from one contract to the other. So, for example, on 2nd of December, well, it wouldn't be in 2nd, it would have been sometime in December. Here, it would have been the 13th of December. We rolled over from the December contract, which expired sometime after. Let's go and see when it expired. It expired here on the 16th of December. It rolled over to the March 2025 contract, which began trading all the way back here in September of 2023, but the volume increased once contracts were about to be rolled over, and then now we're trading the March 2025 contract. Okay, you understand the rollover now?
Yes, I
Okay,
do.
so when we talk about the rollover, the price is always slightly different. What does that mean? That means that if we go to the, how do I do this? It would probably be best to do it like, let's go to the 4-hour. So if on this, let's go to March, and on this, let's go to December. Where is this price action? So here, this wick up here, right?
Yes.
4-hour, 16, 2 o'clock, 16, 2 o'clock. Yes. On the December contract, the price is 1.05245. But on the March contract, it's 1.05675. There's a difference, right?
Yes.
it's
So
like
when we're
that.
trading sorry,
Sorry, I
sorry to
haven't.
interrupt.
Let me. No,
When
no,
we're
don't
trading,
interrupt. Let me finish the explanation because this is going up as a recording and everyone's going to be listening to it. Just let me finish the explanation for why we need the back adjustment or don't use the back adjustment. At the top of that wick, you've got 1.05245 and 1.05675. So the prices on the different contracts are going to be different depending on what they are trading at. When you're looking at the continuous contract, you are up till this point looking at December, and from this line, you are looking at March 2025. So as you could imagine, what is here, 1.05, whatever 275 that was here, would be different on the March contract. And when you click back adjust, it will adjust all the prices prior to the contract switch to follow March contracts price action. I can't put it any other way at this point in time. It will back adjust all the prices to follow a particular formula that is required to make the chart look smoother, to remove all the gaps that would have been created as a result of the contract switch. That's what back adjust does. And so on the monthly time frame, this same FVG with back adjust on, if you were to turn it off, you will find that the FVG is actually there. Does that answer your question now?
yes, it does.
Okay. What were you going to say?
Yes, I was going to ask that. Um, you see, he was talking about the different contracts. One is March, and then he was also talking about December. So, are these contracts in 3 months each, like March and then June
Seems to
and
be
then
quite
September?
a coincidence, isn't it? Every 3 months there's a contract switch. Every 3 months is a quarter. You might have stumbled onto something.
Yes, I'm not sure what I stumbled upon, but it did come up to my mind that why do we have it every 3 months and why not every 1 month? So, yeah, just relate to this question. I have the other question.
Sure, carry on.
So, imagine I'm trading. So basically, right now it's January 12th. So can we trade like January, March, April? Can we trade June contracts or can we only trade March contracts basically right now? Can we only trade the future like so right now we're in the first quarter, January, February, March. So in this quarter, are we only gonna be trading the March contracts or can we go further and trade the other
So
contracts? Is that
typically, you
available?
would want to trade the contract with the highest volume. And for that, you would use either barchart.com or the CME's website. The link was posted above in the chat by somebody to determine which contract has the highest level of open interest. And you want to trade the ones with the highest level of volume and open interest. You don't want to be trading contracts with low volume. You could go to the June contract now, which is this one. But if you look at it, this is what you'd be trading. Like how do you trade this?
Yeah, you can't trade. It's too many gaps. It's too less liquidity.
Sorry.
The liquidity is in this contract is too low because
Yes,
there's too many
that is
gaps.
correct. That is correct.
Yeah, and also imagine we're trading ES 500 March contract. Will we be comparing it with Nasdaq March 2025 as well. We won't be comparing it with like another contract, isn't it? It has to be the same time frame contract to compare it for our SSMT and SMT, etc.
At this point in time, I don't know what SMT and SSMT is.
Oh, yeah, I don't know it either. I just heard about it basically, but I
Yeah, so
know it's
then
like
we're
to
not going to talk
confirm
about it
that.
until we have been taught it.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
If at all these concepts exist. I don't know, not heard of them.
Yes, that's true.
Happen to have coded the only indicator available that picks them up at this point in time, but haven't heard of them one bit, no.
Yeah, that's true. I have another question with regarding to um this course. How long do you recommend we should spend daily or weekly, like studying and backtesting what we learn?
What do you work as? Do you have a job?
I do have a job, yes.
And what time do you work from
So
until?
I wake up at 4 a.m. and I return at 6 p.m. So like 4 a.m. in the morning till 6 p.m. in the evening. I work from Monday till Friday.
So then you've got Saturdays and Sundays.
I've got that off, yes.
So the only question is, what's your priority? Is this your priority, or is
My
something else your priority?
my priority is to learn trading.
Then are you going to sacrifice everything else in your life?
Yes, of course. Of course,
You
I
say
will
that
sacrifice
now.
everything else.
You say that now. But for most people, that's not going to be the truth, because when they realize how much work is required to actually get to a point where you're consistent, 99% of people are going to fall off the wagon. So how many hours per week
Yeah,
you backtest is up to you. If it's the case that you work or you get up at 4 a.m. and you finish work at 6 p.m. During the week, and then you go for 4 a.m. to 6 p.m. on a Saturday backtesting, and then you do it again on a Sunday, and then you repeat your life on a Monday. And again on a Saturday and Sunday, you go from 4 a.m. to 6 p.m. backtesting. You're going to catch on really, really quick.
okay,
Personally,
I've understood that, yes.
since 2021 January up till today, there's been in my whole life 1 week where I didn't look at the chart. And that was the week when, after I finally decided, right, that's it, I've got it, I took a week off after 4 years.
Wow. So
I,
basically, we must work hard and put a lot of time into learning these
well,
concepts and
I work as a
backtesting it.
doctor in obstetrics and gynecology. I work 100 plus hours a week. And on top of that, there's the backtesting.
Yeah, it's good that you left. I'm not sure if you're still a doctor, but I
Yes, I am.
think you're a good trader right now.
I'm a really good analyst. You need to understand there's a difference between an analyst and a trader. You want somebody who's really good at execution, and you want somebody who's really good at analysis, and you want to learn from both these people. Just
Yeah,
because
that's
they're a
true.
good
So you're a good
analyst,
analyst.
they're not going to be able to trade. Just because they're a good trader, they're not going to become a good analyst, right? I can call price months in advance. If you go to my Twitter, you will find 3 or 4 months before EU is going to trend from this date to this date. Oh, this is where the low is going to fall. All that shit's out there, right? Execution, I don't comment so much upon. I can. I've got my model. I execute my model. But there are people here that are far better at executing than I am, and you should be learning from them. two of them are listening
Yes,
to me right
correct. Yes. Who are these people who are good at executing? And what is your Twitter username, please?
now. Sorry,
What is your Twitter username? And who are these people that are good at executing trades?
there's
You just
Jacob,
mentioned right now.
there's Platty, who's currently using the name Lawson, God knows why. Um,
Yes.
yes,
Yes, I've seen Lawson and Jacob in the group chats.
yes, Mr. Lawson. We also call him Duckface.
Yeah, he does have like the duck profile
Exactly.
picture.
Looks like a duck, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes, yes, it's funny. Yeah, so what is your X username? Because you did mention that you post your analysis on your profile on X, which is Twitter.
I think if Jacob or Platty could link the profiles, that would be useful. But I think it's Cryptomedic.
Cryptomedic. Okay, I'll search it up soon. I mean, just after this lesson finishes, I'll search it up.
That's the one. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Yeah, I see the link in the thing. Many
Yes,
thanks for sending the link.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Any other questions, sir? It's early days. We've got a long way to
I sh-
go. We're gonna get to a point
just
where.
about the mentorship.
Hmm.
So like, do you have any schedule of how many lessons we're gonna have
So
each week?
I
And
can speak for, at this point in time, myself. My schedule, as I've mentioned, is about 100 plus hours a week. Any one day that I find myself free, I will schedule the clinic on that day. I will have my schedule in advance and I will put the list up somewhere and then people can sign up. I prefer to do one-on-ones. Group sessions just don't really cut it. Jacob and Platty will prepare their schedules and then they will do his schedule eventually. But your leads
yeah, okay.
getting into the point where you're ready for day will be Platty, Jacob, and myself.
Yes, I've understood that. Many thanks for answering that question.
Pleasure, sir. Any other
Do you have
questions?
an up? Yes, do you have an update on the day's health?
I don't think it's any of our business.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You paid for content. You're going to get more content than 24 ever got. I can promise you that. Simply because you've now got 3 people churning out content weekly. Let me just give you a rough idea. 24, we had Sunday evening market stream. Sometimes it happened on the True Week Open. And then we got 1 lecture a week. So that was 2 hours of day's time each week, roughly. We got a bit more towards the end. We got a bit less some weeks, but that was it, right? You are getting at least 6 hours from the 3 of us, and then days content on top of that. Your 25% in increase in price compared to what 24 has paid, you're getting multiples more content than we did. But again, it's not going to change. The ones who put in the work, they're the ones who are going to get the most benefit just watching these lectures and streams without actually going into the charts and backtesting will likely result in failure.
Yes, I've understood that.
Any other questions, sir?
I do not have any more questions.
All right. If that's the case, I will open up the floor to anyone else, move you back to the audience. Anyone who wants to take 5 minutes has the time while we wait for Miss Meech, which I believe asked to speak somewhere there. Let's do that. We will start with Meech in 5 minutes. Till then, Mr. Noah. Oh, Mr. Craig has a question. Let's do that. Good day, sir. How can we help?
You can hear me, medic?
Yes, we can. I can hear Meech, but Meech needs to wait a little while.
Oh, my bad, my bad.
You've got your session in 4 minutes. Craig has 4 minutes to ask anything he wants to before we get to you. Mr. Craig, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. How can we help?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for availing your time, especially working 100 hours. It must be hectic, but thank you just for that. So I just wanted to ask you regarding live sessions. Do we have live sessions where we do live executions together going forward? And then also just seeing that we are all scattered all across the world, how do we combat or like look at the different time zones? Is there a set time that we're going to be working, or
Okay.
is it going to be, as you said, just according to schedules?
Okay.
Thanks.
So, with regards to the live execution, so as I mentioned just earlier, there are two breeds of traders. You have the analysts who are really good at analyzing and can tell you to the second where price is going to be. And then you've got the executioners. Now, the analysts tend to post potential price action well in advance, right? And then the live executioners want to prove to you that they can trade and they will do live trading. So, in my opinion, you trust anyone that, number one, can call the price action way before it happens, or the person who can execute and show you that they're profitable, one or the other. Ideally, you learn from both. So, with regards to whether or not we have live streams doing executions, at this point in time, I'm not sure if Jacob or Platty have any planned, but I personally will, after my embargo lifts in April, I will be posting charts with potential price action well before it happens. The market closes on the, I don't know what time the market closes now, I never look at it. So for Friday at 5 p.m., the market will close, and then 5 to 6, you've got your 1 hour break. At that point in time, on some weeks, I will know what the entirety of the next week is going to be. Well before, are you paying attention? Well before the defining range prints. But that's me.
Okay,
So
I got
live
you.
trading,
Thank you.
we go to Jacob or Platty. They might show you live. After April, there may be times when I show you once I've entered a trade. It'll be marked by an arrow. But that's one. So the second part of your question was regarding time zones and that all of us are in different time zones. We refer, if any of us are talking about time, we refer to New York time, which is UTC -5 in TradingView, New York. Just set your TradingView to that. That's the time we're talking about. When we're talking about events being scheduled, we will do our best to put them in the Discord as events as we are currently doing, and that will show you the time in your current time zone. However, any reference to time will be in Eastern time, New York time.
Okay.
All right. It is 3 seconds to Meech's turn. I'll put you back in the audience, good sir. Thank you for your time. Mr. Meach, 3 o'clock. We are 3 for 3 this time. It's quite better than
Yes.
some of the other sessions. How can we help?
All right. So my first question, I guess, is regarding you keep stating that we should keep
Sorry,
our
you're breaking
charts
up.
into the Eastern time. Is it better or no?
Yes.
So you keep stating that in these last two people that we should stick in the Eastern time. So, but in the first video, Dia stated importance of the Switzerland time. So, would you recommend having the Eastern time, but then having the Switzerland time open as well on another monitor?
So, how is that going to make your trading any different? Are the candles going to print differently?
I mean, I was hoping you would tell me the importance of the Switzerland time.
I could, but I'd be letting out a lot of cats. We need to talk about time and what time actually represents. So when I say it's 6 p.m. in New York, in Switzerland, it's midnight, right?
Correct.
And that's all that is. So what is happening at midnight in Switzerland is happening in New York at 6 p.m. Time is just a way to ensure that everybody is looking at the same point on the chart. The
Would you say
importance
that the
of
cycles of
the
my
cycles
bad, you
don't matter because you can either define them in Swiss time or New York time, and you're going to get the same cycles. They're going to mark off the same areas of the chart. You don't use New York time to mark off Swiss charts, right? So if you want to go in UTC +2, then of course your Asian session is going to be midnight to 6 a.m. London's going to be 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. is going to be your New York, and then 6 p.m. to midnight will be your New York PM session, right? But by convention, to ensure that everybody's on the same page when we discuss time, we just stick to discussing it in terms of New York time. So in that case, your Asian session starts at 6 p.m., London starts at midnight, your New York AM session starts at 6 a.m., and the PM session will start at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, right? So it's purely for
Okay.
convention that we use Eastern time in New York. The implications of Swiss time will be irrelevant to anybody that enjoys coding, in my opinion. If you enjoy coding, then Swiss time is relevant. That's all I'll say.
Okay. So, I guess my next question would be about, I don't know if you could really answer this, so would be, I guess, about time, would be the 6-hour time frame. And since everything is fractal, what would the 30-minute have a significant matter in the 30-minute time frame?
The time frames that I use are here. Five-minute, 15-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly, monthly, and 3 months. I don't use anything else. You asked about
So
the
you don't care about
6-hour
anything
time
on the
frame.
30-minute. I mean,
Look,
yes, do you like the 6-hour time
in
frame
my
also?
opinion, this may not be the opinion that everyone shares. When you've built a particular model that works in a particular set of time frames, or if you've got a model that works across all time frames, all assets, like me and some people do, the in between becomes irrelevant, because at the end of the day, this is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a continuous line, right? This is the 1 second time frame on EU. This is what goes on to form your higher time frame candles, right? This is where price is moving
Correct.
at every second of the day. This will then eventually lead to the formation of candles. So you can say 30 minutes, 1 hour per. At the end of the day, it depends on your model. What does your model require? Sampling theorem, not doubling theory, sampling theorem dictates the requirement of at least double the frequency in order to be able to, double the sampling in order to be able to pick up something. To be able to pick up a change on the 6-hour chart, you need to go down to at least the 3-hour. Do you see anyone using the 3-hour? No. They do it on the 4-hour. Right?
Correct.
So at the end of the day, at least, if you're going to look for a change in the daily, you're going down to at least the 12-hour. In our case, we use the 4-hour.
Okay. Do you believe that the 6-hour is cleaner at all, or no?
Of course it is. But then what benefit will you get from being able to make a decision every 12 hours? That means you might not be taking a trade that day.
You're right, but it could definitely dictate bias, I feel like,
You could
or
use it
liquidity.
for bias, and then you could go down to the 15-minute or 5-minute to execute. But why not
Yes.
go on the 4-hour?
That is true. I was just trying to see what type of information I can get out of you out of the 6-hour.
There's a ton you can derive from the 6-hour, but it's not time for that yet.
Interesting. Okay. So my next question is, have we spoke about PSPs yet or no?
Don't believe so.
No.
Don't know
Okay.
what that is.
I won't.
Does anyone
Okay.
know what a PSP is? I
A
doubt it.
a precision swing point.
Yeah, but I doubt anyone knows what that means, though.
I
I
thought.
don't,
Okay,
for
my
sure.
bad.
Not
No, I
yet.
thought you meant. All right. So then, in one of the videos, I said that 9 a.m. is the best time, like, to trade. So would you ignore 8:30 news? Like, you wouldn't. I wouldn't say ignore it, but would you not enter before that? Would you wait for 9 a.m.?
Without any news, the value of any manipulation that we see on the charts is lightweight. And so if you're expecting big manipulation, listen very carefully. If
Listen.
you are expecting big manipulation, then you want to wait for the news. If you are of the opinion that manipulation has already taken place, then could it not be possible that the news causes a distribution?
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
Would you allow me to, I guess, say one more thing about that?
You can ask, but I don't guarantee you're going to get an answer. Carry on.
Okay, so if I get a, because I've heard Daya speak about this before, so I just want to see if you would just say yes or correct it. If we get a weekly cycle, will that give us the bias of every red folder news?
I don't understand the
So if
question.
I get if I'm in the 1 hour weekly cycle
Mm-hmm.
and I get the high taken out, so the manipulations, the high getting taken out, the weekly cycle is confirmed before the red folder news is coming out. So this is an hour before the news comes out. So would that dictate the bias of every red folder news?
How sure are you that the high being taken out was manipulation? What if it happens in Asia?
I mean, I mean, if we have CPI Friday, then I technically would wait for. mm, I guess we haven't spoken about that either. I would wait for you know what I would wait for Wednesday and Thursday to dictate Friday. I'm gonna just say that. Would you say yes or no to that?
Wait
I
for the
would. You
news.
know that, right?
Wait for the news
Uh,
even after expansion. It
oh
gives you the
man,
entry.
you would wait. So you're telling me I would wait even if I get the manipulation through Wednesday and Thursday on a higher time frame, on a higher cycle,
If
on
you're
a
on the
monthly
weekly
or weekly
cycle
cycle.
and you're looking at manipulation that week, then you're not entering that week, are you? I don't know how many people caught on to that. Fuck me, I'm enjoying this more than I did last week.
Medic, Medic, why you gotta make us think? Come on.
This
I like
thinking
this
is
though. Okay,
fun.
okay. So next
There's a
question. I
shit
like this, Medic.
ton.
I like this, but
There's a
like
shit
this.
ton out there, man.
I like this, Medic. Okay, so next question. Wait, so what do you like to do? You like to wait for the news?
This is me, right? This is me and the people that I teach in my course. And the reason I don't talk about price until end of April, we don't look at news. We don't look at shit. We look at the candles. End of story. Don't need anything else. Why do I want to
That's
influence myself based on what other people are going to be
so
thinking when the
um
candles are talking to me directly? At 5 o'clock on a Friday
yeah,
evening, I know what the
okay.
entirety of the next week is going to do. Why do I need to bother with anything else? I just wait for price to get to where I want it to be, and then I do what I need to do.
Uh, dang. I feel like that dictates Daya though so much.
Sorry.
It's interesting. I feel like that like I feel like Daya he makes Red Folder News very important. So it's
There's two
very
ways to
interesting
go
that
about
you
it,
say
right? You look at the economic calendar, however you want to pronounce it, and you say, right, these are the days that are good for trading. Or you look at the analysts who's before they even look at the calendar can tell you what days the news are going to be on, where it's going to be, and what's going to happen. Do you understand?
yes. I do.
Yes. So
Okay.
on the Discord server that I was on, one of the last calls that I made, I told them to watch a particular date for Bitcoin on 6th or 8th of January, and that's when the crash started. And then they asked me, when do I go long? And I say, at 6 o'clock on the 9th of January, 6 p.m. You want to go and look at the chart and see what happened then on the 5 minute? Let's show you.
Interesting.
And this was well before, like 2 days before, right? I can't use that was closed. 9th of January, 9th of January. I'll zoom in shortly, but 9th of January, 6 p.m. 2 days in advance. I said 9th of January, 6 p.m. Buy. You know what that would have done? Even if you just randomly spam bought the higher the candle, stop loss there, I gave you at least 1.6, if not more. 2 to 1. 2 days in advance. Combine that with where price was going to stop. What more do you need? Don't need much more than that.
You care about volume in the market? Answer.
I only trade CMEs, so it's a high volume anyway. Do you want to ask the
Then
question in a different way? That's slightly more specific. Think carefully.
you're getting me here, Medic. I'm not gonna lie. You're getting me here. I can't lie.
I'm one step ahead of you. think very
You are one
carefully
step
and
ahead of
ask
me
the
on this
same
one, I can't
question
lie.
in a different way, but
Medic got
highly specific.
Medic did get me. Damn, I don't know to be. Oh my god, I can't believe this opportunity right now. I don't know, to be honest. Alright, I'm gonna just skip because I don't know this. It's gonna bug me.
I exclusively use volume and nothing else.
Okay. Alright, that tells. I feel like that tells me a lot. Alright. Our next question is Dia talks about seasonal orders or seasonal shifts. I was wondering if you can tell me them or talk about them.
So every 3 months, we're looking for quarterly shifts. We do that on the daily time frame. That's it.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So what can Price do?
Alright.
Price either consolidates, expands. Price either, what was it? Consolidates, expands. Brain block. 1 second. And then it's either in accumulation, manipulation, distribution, or continuation and reversal, right? So Price either consolidates, expands, or is in one of the 4 phases. And if you can understand that, you can leave the mentorship today.
Definitely. Alright. Let's put in a more basic question. My brain hurts a little bit from all this. Oh. You said we can't talk about any models Dia has spoken about previously, correct? Yes, I won't say that.
I'd like for these clinics to sort of be the Q&A for any content that had happened that week so that you get something that 24 didn't really get.
Understandable. I guess I'm gonna try to ask you an easier question. So if I'm in the 4-hour time frame, right? If I'm in the 4-hour imbalance, let's just say that 4-hour imbalance. So technically, I could drop into automatically into the 15-minute time frame, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then let's say I get a sweep of manipulation on 15 minutes. Can I fall into the 1 minute for entry automatically? Because that's the order flow of what you guys have taught us? That makes sense?
If you're in a 4-hour imbalance, how sure are you that? So if it depends on the point at which you're going to go, isn't it? And I think this is something that we will get into in the future.
Can I say this? If I have all trials lining up and I have that 4-hour imbalance with all 9 trials lined up, I would be very confident in entry.
I don't know what
maybe even being winning. I would use the Forex, NASDAQ trials, and the interest. And if I wanted to, I would use maybe gold to extra confluence, but I would never use gold, honestly.
Dropping down to the 1 minute to execute what was initially planned to be a 15-minute execution is only valid after the exact low on the 15-minute has formed. Prior to that, you're gambling, right?
Can you show that in an example?
Not today. We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so can you tell me if I'm doing this correct? If I'm in the 15-minute and I'm looking for the entry, and you're looking at the time of the candle being closed, correct? And let's say you're in the 15-minute, and there's only about 4 minutes the candle is closed and you see it's wicking, forming a certain candle medic,
I'm not going
right?
to talk about them now.
I know, a certain candle, right? But the time is ticking down, so you have 4 minutes left. Would it be okay to drop into the 1 minute to then enter, or is that bad?
No comment.
Ah. All right. All right. Back to the 3-hour, the 3-month market shift, right?
Mhm.
I saw that if you guys are just saying that like on a certain day, on an exact day, that something has to be moved, right? But you guys are only counting the bars of the days.
I don't do counting bars, sorry. Can't answer the question. I know
Didn't
some
even get to the
people.
question, medic.
Yeah, but you mentioned counting. I know what you're talking about. So, no.
Medic, you know me too well.
I know what everyone thinks is fancy. I know what
I know
everyone
what fancy
thinks
works
is magic. And I'm telling you, magic is in you having 300 backtests and knowing that this is where I can enter and make money. Nothing fancy needed. Once you all are through this, right? If you
It's
have
not that
the
like it's not that I wouldn't say I want the fanciness. Is that
no, you're
I feel
talking
like
about
I
counting
know
candles. You're talking about PSP. You're talking about TPD. You're talking about DFR. You're talking about blah, 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 blah. All that's fancy, right? Open, high, low, close. What do you need more than that?
I mean, yes, but all of that is DST.
Right? We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yes, medic, I believe. Alright, I have no more questions.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll move you to the audience. Thank you for your time. We have 8 minutes. Just give me 3 minutes and I shall be back. In the meantime, you can ask any question you want in the chat or raise your hand to speak, and I'll be back in 2 minutes. All right, that's me back. I've had people come into my course and within 6 weeks throw out everything that they had being profitable because the stuff that I said just made sense to them, I guess. And you'd be surprised at the every trader will have a point where they turn profitable, and you'd be surprised at what the move was that led to Medic being profitable. Anybody has any questions? We're waiting for Mr. Zoran Orlovich. Can't pronounce that. I don't know how to pronounce it. Is Mr. Zoran here? We start in 5 minutes. Yes, Mr. Craig. How can we help?
Good day again.
Yes, sir.
Just a question on the previous one of the videos which you posted regarding the time frames. So, like you mentioned, each time frame has a corresponding high and low. So each imbalance or fair value gap has a corresponding high or low. I wanted to know, sir, what if it doesn't go in, breaks a low, or if it doesn't break a high? Do we completely just stay out,
I
or
don't understand the
or do we
question.
look
So,
on?
in reference to the higher time frame
So,
level,
so say for example, we are entering a daily fair value gap, right? We will then be looking for an hourly high or low for price action to break. Are you with
okay.
me? Now, my question is, what if that high does not get broken, or if it doesn't get breached? Is there, do we just completely stay out, even though it's so close to the high or low? It must absolutely break the high
All
or
right.
low
I understand
before
your
we.
question. We've got 3 minutes to answer
Yep.
it. I'm going to take 30 seconds, and Patty and Jacob might enjoy this answer a bit more than all the others. If you study the watch list that I've posted, you will notice that there are 3 tickers in each section. And the reason there are 3 tickers is what will lead to your question being answered. Yes, it is possible to enter without the high or low being taken. It happens at a specific time in a specific way. We won't talk about that today.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Move you back to the audience. We have 1 minute, hoping Mr. Zoran shows up. In the past, these sessions were done voluntarily, and so if anyone didn't show up for the session, they were banned from any future sessions. But this is now part of the mentorship, and therefore can't ban you from the mentorship, can I? Maybe he misunderstood the time. Let me check what. Zoran. I think he doesn't know that it's on Discord. Zoran Olovic. Let me send you the account. It's in our chat, Jacob. Best way to backtest. I think we'll get to that at some point, but I think it's a little bit too early to talk about best ways to do any backtesting at this point in time. If you use replay, if you trust yourself, you scroll through the chart. That's about as good as it's going to get. One and a half hours in. PDF files, Jacob is working on them. I personally hate them, but they'll be. You don't get to read PDFs and then understand everything that's being talked about. The best way is to still listen, take notes, handwritten notes, not this digital Notion bullshit, right? Handwritten, pen and paper, that's the only way it's going to stick in your head. You don't remember shit you've typed, you remember shit you've written down. It's just the physiology of the brain. You can't avoid it. Handwritten notes and then a shit ton of chart time. That's the best way to learn. You're not going to learn from PDFs. You're not going to learn from watching these videos 10 times. You can watch me speak 100 times and you won't become a trader. Just by watching. I've got the entire ICT 20, what is it, 2016 in handwritten notes, and I could tell you what's on what page. I've got all of QT typed out, and I stopped watching after a certain amount of time, but yeah, because I got what I need. No, you trade the contract, Mr. Adrian, that is in the forward month, the one forward. So currently, everyone's trading the March contract on EU, so 6E, NQ, and a few others. The only one that does current month is Bitcoin. So Bitcoin contracts change every month. Everything else usually does every quarter. So you trade the forward contract, the contract that's going to expire next. It's 3:34. Mr. Adrian has not shown up. I think it's the first time. We'll leave it. Wait a minute, I'm confused. Adrian Freeburn, is that you? Okay, so your session was first, and we've done that. I'm now waiting for Mr. Zoran Orlovich. In the meantime, until he shows up, anyone with any questions can ask away. Okay. In that case, I might actually, unless anyone has any questions, I might stop the recording because I don't want half an hour of silence. I remember Day saying that we don't need everything else except high lows, gaps, imbalances, and order blocks. I believe the quote was highs, lows, and FVGs. You don't need anything else. And so when you're going to quote something, you should quote the actual statement, and it's highs, lows, and FVGs. You don't need anything else. Yes, it is completely true. Order blocks don't exist. FVGs don't exist. But that's for the end of the year, isn't it? PD arrays don't exist. Romantic. You said ICT. PD arrays don't exist. ICT gave you a language with which to communicate. That's all the man did, and he did it the best as anyone has ever done. I will say this, definition. I'm the only idiot that goes around saying definition. If you understand the definition and you can explain something with that definition to a 5-year-old and they will understand it, or your 90-year-old grandmother who's learning how to trade, if with your definition you can explain a concept to them, you've got it right. If it's too complicated and they can't understand it, you haven't understood it. When it does come time to talking about certain candles, the definition of those is going to be really important. Really important. Till date, it's probably the reason. Anyway. Mr. Lawson, did you have a link to Triad's duty for everyone? Let me just make sure. Glad he will do it later. Okay, so Forex Factory. don't be fooled by the name. The red folder news that comes up on Forex Factory will be for everything. The only thing that might need a separate calendar will be the oil, gold, but in general, Forex Factory will be enough for everything. If you're using news, if you're the person sitting in the camp that will tell you when and where the news is going to be, well, you don't need those, do you? In fact, don't want to. Can though. Can though. I can indeed. Next week is going to be fun on Bitcoin. Third week of January is going to be fun on Euro and on the Nasdaq and gold. Third week of January, damn, Bitcoin going to lead the entire market. And that's how long it took, 30 seconds. And the entirety of next week is clear. I wonder if they'll find that. 2 hours and no, 2 hours? No, 1 hour and 42 minutes into the recording. This is so much fun. No, I started the recording at 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's now 2:42. Imagine having to sit through this recording and then getting to 17 minutes of silence. That would be fun. I believe Jacob does that on Sundays, so the weekly analysis will be on Sunday by Jacob Alacuti in the style of day. So the reason there's only 23 people here is very simple, Mr. Dennis. Number one, we have said that everything will be recorded and posted online. And as soon as you say that, the thought that goes through people's head is, I'll watch it later. And then suddenly there's 2 videos to watch, and then 3 videos to watch, and then 4 videos to watch, and then I'll just join next year's mentorship. If we were to say, no, everything's not going to be recorded, this is a schedule, show up or lose it, you'd get everyone here. People always think that I'll do it later. And these are typically the people that will end up having problems. Just 1 second. Yeah. Yes. Any other questions while we wait for, I'm guessing it's the next session. We can't do Mr. Zoran. Yes, sir, Mr. Craig.
Hello. I'm not sure if you heard that.
No, I just heard what you just said. Hello. Not sure if you just heard that.
Uh, yeah, I did post it in the chat. I just wanted to ask if you could perhaps go over an example of the IFVG, so the inverse fair value gap, because that one was a bit confusing on the video for me, to be honest. Thanks.
Have you covered ICT concepts?
Yes, I have. That's why I'm saying my understanding, what I thought it was, and the way they explained it was just a bit confused. So I just wanted to clear that. What yeah.
Okay. From my, it's not even a good one. It's a high time frame one. So, from my limited understanding of inverted fair value gaps, this is what happens. There's a fair value gap that forms, and then candle closes below, and it's treated as a PD array from the opposite direction. It can be as simple as that. Does that make sense?
Okay, cool. It makes sense, and that's also been my understanding.
Yeah.
But
So,
like I said in the video, it looked a bit different the way they identified it. That's why I was just a bit confused. But thanks.
if I'm not, yeah, we'll talk about that later. But I think that's what an inverted
Yeah.
gap is. I could be wrong. I don't use them myself. So, which type of
Okay.
trader am I? I'm the trader that screens through the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly, and wherever I see my setup on whichever one of the assets that I've shown you, I take it. I'm not a particular type of trader. My model works on all time frames, on all assets, everything. And so there's no particular type of trader that I am. But I take 1 hour. So 1 hour is good enough. 1 hour on $1 million account is good enough. Think about it. Right, move you back to the audience. 2025 OG, Mr. Abdul Qadir wants to say something. Yes, sir.
Hello, Mehdi. Yes, thanks for the opportunity. I had a question. It's about FPGs. So, if with regards to the validity of an FPG, so for example, if price has already tested an FPG, so a price already dug into an FPG, so even if it's like by 1 or 2 pips, so does that mean the FPG is no more use, or can that be reused again? Like, what is the criteria to say that, okay, look, this FPG is out of use, it's already been tested and used? Like, is there any percentage that it has to go into, or like any kind of criteria you have?
I think the best answer to this particular question, and you're not going to like it, is to tell you to go and rewatch that lecture on liquidity and imbalances. You've missed a very big point.
Okay, I will rewatch that today.
Yeah, I think that would be a
Actually, I think I have the answer.
okay.
Because they did say that if an FPG becomes test like inverse FPG, isn't it? So it's an FPG that's already been broken through, and then price can also trade back into the inverse FPG and react off that. So I guess we can use the FPGs at all
I
times.
think you
Like
have
there's no.
missed a very big point in the liquidity and imbalances lecture, and I'm not going to be doing you a favor by telling you the answer.
Okay, I'll have to. I'll watch the video again then. Yes. So yeah, that was the only question I had.
Cool. I'll move you back down to the audience. This is probably going to be one of the longest recordings that's going to go up on WAP, isn't it? 3 flipping hours. It's like watching ICT. You're all going to fall asleep, and then they're going to miss the nuggets that were dropped. Hilarious. I apologize in advance to anyone listening to the recordings. It's really cold in the Arctic Circle, and the only things to keep us warm are ice cubes. The ice cubes are relatively warm compared to everything else, and so I chew them. I mute my mic on Discord when I chew them, but apparently it's all being picked up on the recording, so I will avoid it in the future. While we're here, let me tell you a little bit about studying. Eating a pint of Rocky Road ice cream just before you come for a lecture isn't a good thing. And the reason that's not a good thing is because your dopamine's completely spiked. But dopamine spikes don't belong at the start of learning, they belong somewhere in between. At the very start of learning, you require acetylcholine spikes. You can increase the levels of acetylcholine by consuming particular sets of foods. You then want to upregulate your dopamine but not cause a spike. You want to upregulate it by certain practices, whether it is a cold shower, whether it is meditation, whether it's getting in the zone, listening to music, whatever you want to do. And then after that, so don't ever drink coffee before you start, but after you finish studying, that's when you want the adrenaline spike. Because when you get the adrenaline spike, I mean, think about it. Go back to that first memory you have as a child, your earliest memory, and think of how much fear you were in because your parents were leaving you somewhere and you didn't want to be left behind. adrenaline spikes is what solidifies memories. You want acetylcholine upregulation, you then want dopamine upregulation, and then you've got a shit brain, so that's why you don't have any good childhood memories. And then you want adrenaline right at the end. So your caffeine spike should come after you study, not before. And that's why none of you could remember the shit you crammed late at night on caffeine. Always after, not before. Can't imagine how you'd get any ice cubes, Mr. Can't pronounce your name because it's not in Romanized characters. But in that burning hellhole, which Elmo appears to be in, it doesn't look cold. It looks hot. Ice cubes will melt. Okay, so listen to this, fucking economists. You lot know fuck all about the economy, right? You know shit. Even a doctor sitting in his bedroom can tell you where the euro is going to be, when and where to which tick to 0.0005 accuracy. Economics means fuck all. Economists, bastards. I had an economist, they call him my brother, made fun of me at Bitcoin when Bitcoin was at 15,000 mark, the exact fucking bottom, right? And then he comes to me a couple of weeks ago, oh, so how's the crypto market? Right at the top, call for a fucking sell. It's that easy. Just ask an economist and do the fucking opposite. You'd be a profitable trader. Bloody morons. Didn't think I'd get a rant in. Don't normally do rants. Okay, it is 45 seconds until an empty slot. Fuck me, another half an hour of me ranting. Does anybody want the slot? Raise your hand, please. I wonder if we need to censor stuff on WAP. Quite a lot of expletives.
Hello.
Yes, sir. How can we help?
Hi, Medic. This is a this is a slot of mine.
I can't hear you, sir. Mic needs to be a bit.
Can you hear me?
Yes, okay, good. There we go.
Actually, this is a slot of mine from 1:30.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, this half an hour slot I have each book for me.
What time did you book the slot?
It's at 3 a.m. EST, right?
Oh, okay.
Yesterday
Cool.
I asked for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have a
Shiva,
wrong list.
Shiva, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. There we go.
Yeah.
Excellent. How can we help?
Yeah, I'm waiting for this lot actually.
Okay.
and I have few questions regarding quarterly theory also, and because I actually doing it from the last 3 months before joining days content. I mean days this mentorship. I actually had a um, um, idea of quarterly theory, not that much, but have decent idea. So um, can I ask those questions right now, or else the question should be the for the last two recordings? I mean, for the last two videos.
You asked the
Is-
question, and if I can answer it, I will. Otherwise,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Actually, whenever I used to trade in futures, you are in Nasdaq and ES. So
Okay, so let's get
as
this clear before we start. Those are not futures; those are the indices, right?
yeah,
So indices are indices. You have the indices futures contracts. You have Euro futures
yeah,
contracts. You have Bitcoin futures contracts. So futures can be anything.
yeah,
You trade the indices. Okay, carry on.
yeah. I trade indices futures, Nasdaq contract and ES contract.
Yeah.
So I have a confusion that before I take a trade in confirming SMT in those two, do we need to take the third contract of YM also?
We don't talk about SMT just yet, sir. Sorry.
Okay,
That's
fine.
something for
Yeah,
later.
okay, fine. So that okay. That's and as they said, the time is the most priority thing, no?
Mm-hmm.
So if there is an red news, suppose if there is a red news today, so do we need to enter the trade before the news or after the news? If at all the SMT is, I mean, if at all the setup confirms before the news, do we need to? Can we enter, or we need to still wait until unless the red news has to happen?
So then this is the second breadcrumb that I'm going to leave regarding that particular question. And the question then goes, if the setup is already formed before the news, do we take it or do we wait for the news?
Yes. Yes.
Q3 is the best quarter to trade. Q3 is the best
Okay.
quarter to trade.
Okay.
If your setup's already there before the news forms, what's the news going to do? That's something to think about. If the setup hasn't formed and news is due, what's going to happen? That's something to think about. If only there was a way to tell which quarter the news is going to be in based on everything that happens up till 7:30 in the evening on Sunday. Ooh. Not now. That's about as much as I can answer that question for now, sir. Are you thinking so hard that your microphone froze, or don't think too hard? It's only week 1.